Be nice to her.
Okay, the East Grand Forks EDA meeting for June 25th is now in session. Please call roll.
Johnson. Black.
Here.
Blair.
Here.
Pokrzywinski.
Here.
Hecht. Grinde. Johnson.
We have a quorum.
Helms.
Helms. Thank you.
All right, we do have a quorum, so let's see. Number 2 on the agenda, approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Blair, second from Black. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And motion is carried. Number 3, bills and communications. We need no action on either of these. It's review of accounts payable for June 4th, 2019, and review of accounts payable for June 18th, 2019.
Only comment I'll make, I like the way we're doing it now. I appreciate that.
Yep. We got the,
The trees appreciate it too.
yes,
We're not murdering
saved
this
some
man.
trees, but we got all the information we needed electronically. And
Yes.
okay, any other questions, comments about the accounts payable? If not, we'll move on. We're going to not do the reports and move to new business. We have some guests here today, so we'll get their items out of the way so they can move on with their day. Hey, Greater Grand Forks Young Professionals, Catherine Kester is here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Can you pull the mic down and make sure it's on?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you for inviting me to be here today. So the City of East Grand Forks recently became a corporate member of the Greater Grand Forks Young Professionals, so we just wanted to take a few minutes of your day to tell you.
Let me remind everybody that the City of East Grand Forks was one of the original founders
Yes.
and have rejoined as a corporate member now.
Yeah. So there's been a little bit of restructuring within our organization, and that includes our corporate memberships. And so just wanted to present to you today what that includes and ways that East Grand Forks can be involved in the organization. If you work with younger employees within the city, encouraging them to get involved, but other ways that we are hoping to benefit you and vice versa. We really are all about the symbiotic relationship and mutually beneficial relationship. So our mission is to enhance the community, create connections, and invest in each other. And we do this through a number of ways. But the next page is the paragraph that we really focus on with the businesses and our corporate members. What do we want to be for you? And I'll draw your attention to essentially the last 3 lines. We want to provide opportunities for young professionals to professionally and socially interact with peers, having influence to create and foster an environment which helps attract and retain young professionals throughout the region. So we are very much so in economic development and workforce by trying to attract and retain young professional talent here. We firmly believe that if young professionals are invested in the community, they will then stay in the community. It'll be harder for them to leave. So a huge initiative for us that we've taken on last year and as well as this upcoming year is really engaging with the college populations. And so we're happy to report that this past academic year, we started a brand new chapter at Northland Community College, and they already had 20 members in their student chapter. And so it only costs $10 for a student to be a member of our organization, but they get benefits to all of the same as any one of our other members who are already in a profession would. And so again, if we can get the college population to be invested in the community, it'll be harder for them to leave the community. Again, working on creating that intentional workforce pipeline. The next page is just a quick overview of what a year in our organization looks like. We have about 300 members, and that includes our student chapters at Northland and UND. Every month we provide a professional development event. That's our Lunch and Learn, so we bring in a speaker to talk on a different topic. And then there's networking opportunities and time to interact with the speaker, so some professional development conversation exchange as well. And then nearly every month we provide a social event. We've actually been really good this year to do one every single month, whether it's a small meetup. We did a meetup and we played games at a brewery. So that's very low maintenance, but then some of them we do yoga on the Greenway or our Ugly Sweater Christmas party. So ways for young professionals to socially interact with each other. We provide many volunteer opportunities. Again, we're trying to keep to that one a month. We try to provide a social opportunity, a professional development opportunity, and a community involvement opportunity every single month for our members. And then we have some larger signature events too. We have done a New Year's Eve gala the last 4 years. The last 2 years, we have had record-breaking cold temperatures, and that's really affected our attendance. So this year, we're actually moving our gala into October, so still a way for young professionals to get together, dress up, and it's a little more affordable than some of the other opportunities like the All True Gala or the Empire Dinner and Dance. We are a co-founder and co-host of The Longest Table, and we'll be doing that again this year, so we're just in the planning stages of that. And then we also have a mini putt-putt tournament that we do with our members as well. So a lot of different variety of opportunities, essentially just creating opportunities for young professionals to live, work, and play in the Greater Grand Forks community. The next page is the first ever list that we've created of a comprehensive list of what you get out of a membership by becoming a corporate member of our organization. So we think one of the best things is that any employee of that business or entity gets to be a member of GGFYP for free. So that's a $60 value per person. But since the employer is investing in the organization by being a corporate member, it's a no cost to the employee. We do a program called Warm Up to Grand Forks, and this is in partnership with the Cooler campaign, where we talk about the Grand Forks region and all of the positive things going on here, as well as our organization and the opportunities for young professionals within the region. But that can also look a different way. So if Sanford or All True are working on recruiting a doctor to the region, we can essentially we can have one of our members do a day in the community with them. So that way it's someone from our organization, someone from the community selling them on the Greater Grand Forks community, rather than the employer saying, yeah, the community you're moving to is great. We have 3 committees. You've kind of heard about them just because of the program that we do, our community involvement, professional development, and social events. Our committees are really the people who are boots on the ground planning our programming, creating opportunities for young professionals. By being a corporate member, you get to tap into our network of 300 plus young professionals, and that includes advertisement in our newsletter. So I peruse job openings, and whenever there's a job opening for one of our corporate members, I include it into our newsletter. If there's a specific job opening for the city of East Grand Forks that you are really wanting to get out to more people, you can forward me a direct link to that. But we really also believe that by investing in our organization, you're investing in the future of Grand Forks, as well as helping shape and gain exposure of your business or entity. And so if there's events that are going on, or if there's things you need volunteers for, we'd be happy to include that in our newsletter as well. But we very much so are focused on helping create that intentional workforce pipeline of attracting and retaining young professional talent throughout the region. And then the final page is a graph that was provided to us by the Grand Forks Region Economic Development Corporation. This is just a age distribution of the Grand Forks metropolitan area, and we really focus on the buckets 25 to 39. And the first blue category was when our organization was created about 10 years ago, and then the following 5 years after that. And we hear from Keith Lund at Grand Forks Region EDC that when we add another third line onto this, we'll see positive improvements in all of those age categories as well. We know that we're not the only player in keeping young professional talent or attracting it here. We know that we are a key player in that, but there's other organizations such as the DDA, HB Sound and Light doing Greenway Takeover, and all of the phenomenal things happening in our region really are appealing to the young professionals, but we're very happy to be a player in that.
And it's region-wide that you talk about, too.
Yes.
We've talked about that at some of the meetings.
Absolutely.
The Longest Table, where are you going to hold that this year?
So there are conversations about it being on University Avenue right now. the Grand Forks Community the Community Foundation of Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, is doing a corridor study with JLG on how to better connect the university into downtown and get more people coming this way towards the river. And so we are, like I said, very beginning planning phases of that, but I believe that that's where we're planning. I know last year the longest table was, a lot of what GGFYP does is Greater Grand Forks, and we are very focused on being Greater Grand Forks. Last year, the event was heavily funded by the city of Grand Forks, and so we had to, create more focus there. We are exploring a funding option in Minnesota right now, and so our hope is to have it be more of a Greater Grand Forks event this year, and then if that's not possible based on funding, to potentially do a different event specific to East Grand Forks. So those are conversations we are continuously having, is making sure that we are being stewards of our name, Greater Grand Forks, and including our great partners in Minnesota.
I should know this, but I'm going to ask for people watching, what are the dues that we pay to be a corporate member?
Yeah, so if you would like to touch on that, Paul.
We pay $1,000. It is split 50-50 between the administration and the EDA.
Okay. The other question I have is, you're young professionals. Can you define young? For example, do you kick people out when they turn 40?
Never. Absolutely not.
I'm still there.
Okay.
We and our board has done a lot of conversations around this. So young is a relative term, and professional is a relative term too. And so this is something that we are working on in our branding, is making sure that there is a place for anyone in our organization. People ask me all the time, if you had to give an age demographic, we would suggest 20 to 40. Our oldest member is in her early 50s, and she was a stay-at-home mother all throughout raising her children, and her children just left the coop, and so she's very young in her career, and so she finds the professional development opportunities, the networking, connecting with our members to be very beneficial. So it is all how you see it. I have firm beliefs that you are very young at heart, and so we would welcome you to join us.
There's a beautiful song called Forever Young by Adjourn.
Exactly.
And I listen to it all the time.
Exactly. See, you are
Stay
forever
young
young.
that
You're
way.
forever welcome to join us.
Good answer. Okay.
I know you had another event, though. I invited everybody. It was very good out at the Blair Center. It was a speaker and stuff. Right in the first couple of years when you started. Because I know we have a member here that works here that belongs, but I didn't know she could belong for free, so.
Yeah.
And
I'm coming up on.
Speaker that came in. It was great. It was a good thing to go to.
I'm coming up on 1 year with the organization.
Okay.
I was a member for 3 years prior to that. So I'm not totally familiar. I could look into it, though, and try to
But
figure
they
out
have
what it is.
events, and they invite the public to
Yeah.
their events, too. You
Yeah.
know, they have some good speakers that come, and, on their
Some
monthly
bad
events.
speakers, too. I've spoken.
Nobody showed up, right?
Lovely.
Well, we'll
Okay.
skip item
Yeah.
C then.
And one thing that we are, one priority for me is really fostering relationships with our corporate members. And so we've been great at recruiting people, and I feel like we have not been good about our follow-through. So that's something that I've tried to be very intentional about. I've created materials for our corporate members. It's essentially an email write-up and a graphic that goes along with it, and we encourage you to send it out to all of your employees to let them know of the opportunity, because we totally see that you're investing in our organization, and we want it to be a worthwhile investment that you're also benefiting from.
If an employee is not a part of an organization that's a member organization, how can they get in touch with you? Where would they find your office? How can they reach you? How would they find you? So they could participate?
All of our information is on our website. I will be the first to admit our website is very outdated. We're actually going through a full-fledged rebrand and website redevelopment right now, so new and exciting things to come there.
So are we.
So are we.
Our website.
So are we, everybody.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but our website is not mobile friendly, and when your target demographic is young professionals, that is not a great attribute to
Aren't you on Facebook?
We are on Facebook, yeah. So Facebook's a great way. And then we office out of the 701 co-working space. And my contact information's on here. It's on the website. Reach out on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And Catherine's out and about and does a lot of different events. For example, she was at the chamber event at
Yeah.
Hugo's last week.
I serve as an ambassador for the Chamber of Commerce as well.
Okay.
And
All right.
try to be involved as much as possible.
I had a question for you.
Please.
How many corporate members do you have?
Currently, we have about 30. We have a pipeline that we're exploring more. I think before I started, we had about 25, and I know we've added 7 or 8 this year.
Are they generally businesses, or are they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, so we are very happy. We have both Grand Forks and East Grand Forks City. And then businesses, so we have one business that has 9 employees, and then we have the University of North Dakota and All True. So a wide variety. All of our corporate members are on our website if you wanted to take a look at that. Very bank heavy. We have a lot of banks that are corporate members. Yeah.
Diane, you had something about that.
Well, from our perspective, workforce is a huge issue in this area, and it's a way to help create and retain and develop the workforce in the local area. So it's important, in my opinion, for us to support what they're doing.
I don't disagree. I just sat through a large corporate meeting with everybody at our factory over that kind of stuff too. Everybody feels that pain right now.
I mean, it's an issue.
Yes.
And what factory are you with, Daniel?
I work for East Grand Forks American Crystal, so.
Pure,
And-
proud, and sweet.
And I mean,
Yes, the sugar is.
it's very well known that most of the people in Grand Forks are working, and so we don't have enough bodies
Right.
to,
Right.
in the region to fill jobs. And so we hope that this is even an attracting piece for people to come to our community and really see that there is a lot going on here.
Thank you, Catherine. You're welcome to stay and listen to Blue's presentation.
Well, I should leave because I drove him here, and that would be more fun, but
So we'll just,
It's not a long walk,
Downtown
though,
is a
from
very
here.
walkable place. So I can walk.
yeah, we'll just segue right into the downtown.
Or
I love how
borrow
he
your
said
dad's
that. We
bike.
should add that. Downtown is a very
I might
walkable
get mine
area.
soon.
All yours, Blue.
So I handed out our nice little packet as well. Just a little bit of background on me. I actually am a fairly active member with the YPs, and one of the reasons why Catherine and I get along so well, and I realized my mic isn't on, so there we go. So a little background on the Downtown Development Association. We are both Downtown Grand Forks, East Grand Forks. We are one of the only organizations in the entire region that is limited as far as our bounds. So we are limited to our downtown area. That doesn't necessarily mean that we don't work with organizations outside of it. That's just where our advocacy and where a lot of our work kind of falls into it. So the Downtown Development Association was founded in 2014. We're a little over 5 years old now. We were founded by a group of downtown stakeholders, which one of the issues that we have faced for those 5 years, if you look at our founders, none of those are East Grand Forks members. So it's something that we've really taken up as a big thing for Katie and I, my coworker in the office, to kind of address with our DDA is how do we make sure that we're embodying both sides of the river. Our organization was founded to really advocate for good urbanist principles, so making sure that our downtown is walkable as well as very profitable in its tax revenue. So we do this through a number of things. We look at talent retention as one of our big things, so working with organizations like the YPs and what are the things that a lot of people are looking for in their heart of their downtown. So a stat that we fall back on pretty heavily is 66% of college graduates right now are looking at a place to live before they look at a place to work. So they are moving into these urban centers, these fun places that have lots of activity and lots of things, amenities for them. So we're trying to shape our downtown area into that for the future, so that way we can create some more talent retention here in the area. We do that through our events and through our advocacy. So just to kind of start our advocacy. So we work directly with developers, we work directly with the public to make sure that our downtown has something for everyone and is designed for everyone, by everyone. So right now, actually later today, we have an event called Dogs of Downtown. This is located right next to the police station in downtown Grand Forks, and we will have an agility course. We will have Circle of Friends and some of the other vendors from around the city, basically showing that downtowns aren't just a place for humans, but also a place for our four-legged or three-legged friends for some people. So we do this through our advocacy with our developers. So one big thing for us right now is both in downtown Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, is there is so much momentum of development going on. We have people like Bob right across the street over here working on the theater and looking at some new ideas for that as well. We have about $50 million of private investment in downtown Grand Forks right now. So this is amazing momentum. We're looking at things like the big green space over here and how we activate the entire downtown area to not just show shopping and things like that and housing, but also activity and outdoor recreation as well. So we talk about this fact of one downtown employee supports 25 square feet of retail. So the more that we can densely pack in people who live and work downtown, the more we can support the growth of that area as well. So our advocacy is something that is very important for our organization and how we work in the community. Our next thing is our events. So we hold about 11 events a year, and that's not including our programming that is going on this year, but more or less our big 11 events that we do. And over 60% of those are held in downtown East Grand Forks as well. So this was something that kind of was in the foundation of the DDA, is how do we work between across the river and activate both sides. So street fair is one of the only things that is only in downtown Grand Forks. I'm really excited to bring over Blues on the Red this year, partnering with the Up North Fest, but Art and Wine Walk and Holly Dazzle both span both sides and create a nice walkable area between the two. So our events, just in the impact from the 11 events that we had last year, was a little over $785,000 invested into the community. This is through people coming and staying in hotels, through people spending their money at the restaurants, just people spending time in the area. Really nice to see things like that. Our last place is one of our strongest pieces is my coworker Katie, who's a lot better at my job than I am, and works also with the YPs. So she comes in and brings an amazing marketing background to this area, and that marketing background isn't just important for our organization, but for the entire community, and how we're showing that we're on the forefront of a lot of things and making our downtown beautiful, but also making it a place where a lot of people want to participate. So an amazing amount of engagement on there. And so we are a membership-based organization. We currently have about 70 members. About 10 of those are from the East Grand Forks side. So it's one of our big opportunities over the next couple of years is how do we grow that and how do we make it a little bit better for all these other organizations to jump in and help us out. Our board, we have a board of directors of about 16 people, and 2 of those right now are from East Grand Forks. We're looking at growing that down the road as well, because we want to make sure that it's not just an organization, like I said, for downtown Grand Forks, but we are very, very, very focused on being both sides of the river. So that's a little bit of background on the organization. Some background on myself. I moved here about 11 years ago and fell in love with the area. I actually managed Boardwalk here in East Grand Forks for a number of years, and kind of have ran downtown businesses for a while. Moved here with the full intention of moving back to Utah, and ended up staying here because I love this area so much, and I think the potential here is just fantastic. My coworker Katie, as I said, she is from Warren, Minnesota, and so this is her favorite place in the world, is hanging out in this nice little downtown corridor, and a lot of her work has gone into making us look like a better organization, which was a nice step up for us. And with that, any questions or anything? I know one thing that I was here last time to talk about was our 2020 vision campaign. The whole intention on that was how do we react to construction and to all of these stresses that go on. And so I'm sure a lot of you have seen our reroute maps, a lot of our parking maps, really just to let people know how to navigate during this construction phase. And we're excited to kind of utilize that more and more as these developments happen.
Is that information on your website so people can go on and look at it in case they have questions?
It is, yeah.
Knowing that
So-
everything on this side of the river is still open, we want people to be able to get over here easily.
Exactly.
We're biased that way.
No, it's a good bias to have, and it's something that we're trying to make sure that we put into our narrative at all times, is how do we make sure that we're not just thinking of ourselves as a one city community, but really both sides of it. It's all accessible on our website, and it's something that we're always looking for insight on. So we call it an open door policy at our office. And when I say open door policy, Catherine can attest to this. She stops in and checks in with us at least 4 or 5 times a week. And so I invite all of you, call me, text me any time of the night. I'm pretty good about responding even sometimes at 11 p.m., I want to make sure that I'm including everybody and I'm making sure that our downtown is growing on both sides. But all that information is available on our website, and we have our GF 2020 website is also up there to say, look, these are all of our programmings that we're doing. So when I say we have 11 events a year, those are our big events. Those are what Katie and I focus on. This year with the construction, one of our big obstacles was how do we support this downtown area to keep people coming both sides of the river? And so we brought on a community organizer for 6 months. Her job is to activate this area. So she has some pop-up events that she'll be doing all throughout the downtown area. Like I said, Dogs of Downtown is going on today. We had a cash mob. This is where we get about 20 to 30 people together and we all go shopping together. We did that over here at Simply. So one of your brand new retail locations in downtown. We all injected, I think, roughly about $500 in a span of about an hour. And the idea is not just doing our marketing, but how do we actually get people to do some community engagement and be part of those processes?
The reroutes are actually working pretty well, I think. I've gone twice today already, and the south route is quicker, if anyone wants to know. But a couple of things that also that are happening in downtown Grand Forks is long-term, the water plant's going to be decommissioned, and that's going to open up a huge potential space for development, and the new Hugos with the all of the things that are going on.
I come back to, we have all those things happening over there, but
Yep.
we also have so much potential over here.
We do have potential over here. There's some obstacles and there's some attitudes that need to be changed, but I think that'll happen. And I think when we look across the river and see what can potentially happen, then those attitudes will eventually come around, hopefully.
Yeah, and,
So
that's where we like being
Yeah.
participatory.
Yeah, and one thing that I will give East Grand Forks credit for is we do embrace the river. We have tonight's work session agenda, there's a discussion about developing LaFave Park, the area around the confluence of the two rivers, into a nicer looking, more useful area for fishermen and campers and just everybody. We're competing to get the fishing opener here in 2021. And there's a lot of people hard at work, led by the mayor. So we're hoping for that. That's not an easy thing to land, but I think we've got a real good case to be made that it should be here.
Well, and you have an amazing team who's pushing for that too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I got to meet with Reed, and we wanted to sit for half an hour and have coffee.
Yep.
We ended up meeting for close to 2 hours because we were both just so excited about so many things that were happening.
Don't bet against them.
I never would.
How do you coordinate with the CVB?
So the CVB helps to fund a lot of our events, but we're also working with them to create some new ideas. So something that we did over the past month and a half was we did Cooking Up Culture. So this idea of we chose 4 restaurants and we chose 4 new Americans, and we brought these new Americans into the restaurants to bring in new flavors. The CVB was all about it, not only because it was an event that brought in people, but it was something new and fresh and thinking outside of the box. And so that's where we're working with Julie and her team so much, is what are we doing always to be at the forefront of things and not just beating a dead horse on things that worked, but how do we create something new that people want to be part of? Yeah, of course. Julie's been a supporter of mine for a number of years, so I started doing small events in downtown Grand Forks, and from there, somehow I got this job, and so Julie and I have worked together for close to 8 years.
Julie's worked with a lot of us, right?
Julie's usually the person behind the curtain making everything happen one way or another.
Anybody else have any more questions for Blue? Well, thank you both for coming, and keep up the good work. Count on us to call us if you need anything, and
Vice versa.
we'll do what we can.
Always.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
guys.
All right, we'll go back to doing the agenda in order. Number 4, reports, delinquencies, update.
I'm just joking.
No delinquencies.
There are no, excuse me, there are no delinquencies.
That's a broken record we like to hear.
That's a good one.
Yes. Everyone's in good standing. All right. B, monthly financial reports.
You got emailed the activity, correct? And so attached to the cash balances is a broken record, I hate to say it again, but Fund 280 is in the hole. About 20,000 right now. 620 fund says it's in the hole, but that's because there's a transfer at the end of the year, and all the other accounts have balances in them, and I know we're working on trying to find loans to give out and stuff, so, any questions?
Any questions for Carla?
Historically, on 620, we've been able to bring the budget in slightly under what the budgeted amount was each year. The amount of expenditures have been less than the amount of budgeted expenditures.
No other questions? Thank you, Carla. All right, see, director's report. Oh, you take it from here, Mr. Gordy.
I met with, as part of the Regional Market Capture Study Group, with largely with representatives who own the mall about what they're doing to strengthen the programs, their activities at the mall, and make the mall.
Columbia
And we're
Mall.
talking Columbia Mall.
I'm sorry, Columbia Mall, yes, I'm sorry. Good, I'm glad you caught that.
Sure.
Okay, Columbia Mall and what they're doing to revive that. We're fortunate that we have Bob and Penny over at our mall that are doing a wonderful job, just an amazing job. So they talked about that, and then they were going to be talking with the press about some of the things that they were going on. Daniel, you attended one meeting too.
Yeah, I was at the meeting
when I was out
before
of
that.
town.
Yep. I don't remember the exact date, but as I was mentioning before, my concern now is looking at the reports. It's a lot of Grand Forks. So I did remind them that there is East Grand Forks, and we did contribute money just like everybody else did, and we expect to be included in that capture study. So especially when it comes to the geofencing areas. Because I asked about hotels, and I want our hotel included in that as well. I want all of them over here. So, and then, so it's one thing I have concerns about, and I did voice my concerns. So,
And I've been saying the same thing. I mean, I am convinced that we will get at least two of the, I believe we'll get at least two of the geofencing areas that identify areas in East Grand Forks, but that's important to us. And it's important that what happens over here is also recognized.
yeah. And the one thing too is even if we don't get everything that we want tagged over here, we're still getting things tagged that are across the river, and those are still people that are in this area that, if we can provide that information to our businesses, or better figure out how we can maybe bring some of those people across the river too. There is a value in that as well, and I do recognize that.
Yeah. That's partly our role, but it's partly the individual businesses and their marketing to attract customers to their businesses. Okay.
I talked with John Coulter from the Board of Realtors, and I have been in touch with two realtors. We are trying to set up a meeting, arrange a time that all four of us can meet, so we can talk about the ways the realtors can help us, what the city would have to do, what, if any, costs there are for cities. There are a couple of different options, and basically, we're not talking about something that's going to cost us money to post on, but how can we have access to MLS? How can we have access to Zillow or things like that? The organization is not a member of Zillow, so it has to be individual realtors who post on Zillow. But we're looking for ways on how we can work together, and I expect to have more information for you at the next meeting.
Okay. All right, the Minnesota Chamber meeting.
Minnesota Chamber visited. That's a real coup that they came up here. It was for their annual policy meeting. They spoke specifically in 4 areas, one being tax competitiveness, then healthcare, workplace mandates, transportation and infrastructure, workforce development, energy and environment. And they got input. There were about, I want to say 12 to 15 people who attended the meeting and provided input, including people, for example, Dave Zavro was there, and there were others who were there as well. And it was an opportunity for us to share our thoughts and provide some input for the future program for the Chamber as they work with the legislature to try to address some of the issues we're talking about. Having him up here was just a great thing. Doesn't happen very often.
No. All right. EDAM Summer Conference Report.
EDAM is Economic Development Association of Minnesota. I attended their summer conference, and I attached a report. If you have any questions, let me know. I talked about the sessions I attended. I also pointed out that one session that was kind of a so-so session, it was the only session available that time. So, what do you do then? It's better to go and learn something than it is not to learn. At least that's my opinion.
Okay. All right. Unfinished business. The Mayo update.
This morning, I was out at Mayo meeting with the person who's going to be doing the financial analysis, as well as with both the owner and one of the officers from Mayo, one of the executives at Mayo, and we're moving ahead. The application is getting close. There are only a couple pieces that still have to be put together before we can submit the application to the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, usually known as DEED. Once that happens, they will review it. We anticipate that they will be funding a loan in the amount of $150,000. That's all public information right now. To that, and we will supplement it with a revolving loan fund, locally loan, and they will also supplement that with funding from banks or financial institutions. That project is moving ahead, and we're pushing to get it done as quickly as we can, but there are some things that just unfortunately take more time than I would like to take, and I'm sure that more than they would like to take to get them accomplished.
They hoping to get construction started this year?
We're still going to try.
Okay.
Because of the type of building it is, we think we can do it. That's something we talked about this morning. At the worst case, we want to be able to have everything done so the pad can be ready for construction as soon as the season opens next year. But we're trying very hard to be able to get the building installed this year.
I think everything regarding our portion of the application has been completed, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the deed application. Our application is easier, and they've done that before.
Yeah, but the background and such has to be for deed too, right?
Yeah, and that is for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have other action that we need to take as a board?
Not yet.
Okay.
What
There
will happen
be?
is when I get the financial report, I'll be able to ask for the loan committee to sit, review the materials, review the report, make a recommendation to this body. This body will make a recommendation on the loan and on the deed loan. The council will make the final actions, and the council action will occur after we get the paperwork back from deed that they have approved the loan. Okay?
Best case scenario, when would that be?
You're asking me to
Hypothetical
guess
questions.
how long it's going to take a government agency to act.
Okay.
I think we should be able to submit everything by about the 15th, 16th, 17th of July, somewhere in that range.
Okay, that soon, that's good.
Now, it depends on how long it takes them to turn it around.
Sure.
They've said they should be able to do it, they think, in 3 to 4 weeks. But again, I never venture a guess
Yep.
on how long it's going to take another agency to act.
Especially when you're on camera.
Even if I were off camera, it just,
Because it's on the record here.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Going back to new business, KVLY ad proposal.
Phyllis Martin came in a couple weeks ago to talk about a new program that's being done by KVLY. It's invest in your valley, invest and buy locally, and she's looking to sell packages of ads. I suggested that she talk with our merchants in particular. What I would say that if the merchants can't fill up an entire package, then maybe we want to look at supplementing it and do some ads that are more general about East Grand Forks and the business community East Grand Forks. But at this point, I don't wish to spend $1,000 for 100 ads. But if they were short, say $200, for example, and they had 8, I think that we should pitch in the difference. So that's what I'm suggesting, and I'll play that by ear, so I will know what happens when it happens. I suspect, however, that the entire package could be purchased by people, for example, by the, around the theater, the stores there, and along a restaurant row in those stores. But that's one that, if we need to, I would step up for the difference.
So if we did that for one business, we'd be willing to do it for any business then, correct?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying we do it as a general for businesses in East Grand Forks, not for any, our portion of the ads would be generally for any business in East Grand Forks. They can have the ads, and they'll have different ads, so they can be discrete ads, Daniel.
Okay,
So
so that
that-
works. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that
I
the
wouldn't
understanding's
want to
there.
advertise on somebody else's behalf. We have a lot of businesses, all of them are worthy of having ads. Okay, and I wouldn't want to put us in that position where we're giving the appearance of favoring somebody over another when we're actually favoring everybody.
So is she trying to get several businesses to each come up with
That's one possibility.
$250 to come up with?
Yes,
the-
that's one possibility. If, for example, 4 businesses each came up with $250, each would get 25 ads. You can see the ads are at decent hours. The news shows, the morning news shows, things of that nature. So they're not buried at midnight.
So they would produce separate ads, or would they be the same ad with a different business tagged on each?
It would be different ads for the businesses. Because a business doesn't have to do 1,000 of the same.
Right.
Or 100 of the same ad.
I know it costs money to produce ads, so I'm just wondering if that makes sense for them to.
That's a choice that they will end up making.
Okay.
So what are you, if we would have to come up with money, what are you thinking you'd be willing to put towards this?
Don't want to do more than $200, possibly $250. I mean, that would mean that the bulk of it's being paid by our merchants, and we're just supplementing it to show generally what's available in East Grand Forks. I don't want to go more than that.
Well, what if you had enough people participating, you come up with $2,000 and do 200 ads, and we could ask Water,
Again,
ask Water and Light to kick in $250.
Yeah, again, that's the cap I have on that mentally I have on
Okay.
how many dollars I want to go.
I'd support that.
I would prefer the businesses to all do it themselves, and they
I
get the
think-
maximum benefit.
I think this makes better sense for an individual business.
These are just
than-
15-second commercials too, right?
Yes.
They're short. I don't remember how
Yeah,
long.
15.
Vignettes.
15-second vignettes. And,
I'm sorry I interrupted you, Diane.
No,
yeah.
I-
They're very short. They're short and to the point, and just to remind people that there are a lot of local businesses, and it's something that benefits the businesses. And it's,
Yep.
it seems to me, not being in the business, but it seems to me it's a pretty good deal.
It does, it really does.
It's a good financial deal to do this.
For the
I
time
hope the
slots
businesses
too.
subscribe
Yeah.
totally. Okay, but our budget isn't geared up to do something like this. And I don't feel comfortable asking the city council for more money.
All right.
To do this.
Is there anything else? And you'll come back to us when the time comes with that?
Well, what I would do is, like I said,
Or
if-
do we need,
if
can
I-
we authorize you to spend that $250 now?
I think I can spend that money now without you doing anything,
Okay.
because it's in the advertising budget. I would just report to you on what's going on.
Sounds good to me.
How
As
does
long
that-
as we're not needing to request any additional money from,
Exactly.
Okay.
I have no desire to request additional monies.
Okay. All right. Anybody got anything else to add before we,
I want to say a couple words. I had the opportunity this last week to go to a Blend and Leadership Foundation's reunion back in, we figured it out, it was 2002. Blend and Leadership Foundation did one of their programs for East Grand Forks, and Sheila Brune, Pat, what's Pat's last name?
Jacklich?
Jacklich, and I were at this, and it was very interesting. We had a lot of fun. We each had to take a problem or an issue that we wanted to address in our community, and kind of we were doing exercises and that kind of a thing. But one of the things that I either had forgotten or didn't realize, that as a Blend and Leadership community, and we have access to $5,000 grants, and it has to be done through one of the leadership graduates, and there are still quite a few here in the community. Our mayor is one of the graduates. And they don't fund ongoing things, but I thought of, as I was listening to our two guests earlier today, about how we get East Grand Forks into those things, how we do one of the longest table events, that kind of things. Sheila talked about the longest table event as something that had gone on in our communities, and they were very interested, all the communities were, in how this was done. And so that's out there, and like I said, it's $5,000. I understand it's a pretty easy grant program to get into. They like to fund stuff for their graduates. So I wanted to let that know. And it's been a while since East Grand Forks has been through it. I don't know if there would be some people that would want to go through the program. It's about 24 people that they take off for a week, and they really do a lot of leadership development and community development. It's all based on our community. So if someone's interested, I sure can talk to them more about what that's like.
All right. Yes, I remember when Blandon got involved, and it was after the flood, and so many things were going on, and I think it was very helpful to give this city a direction.
They really did.
Yep.
They really did.
They did. So, call for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Black.
Second.
Second by Blair. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.